Joining us this morning, Sunrise Daily, President, Africa Bar Association, Hannibal Uwaifo. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Well, does this give any concern for the bar when we talk about fight against corruption?
Well, for us in the African Bar Association, and I think to a very large extent, as a member of the Nigerian Bar Association for the NBA, the three major issues which government should tackle is corruption, corruption, and corruption. You know, because once you kill corruption, you have enough money to pay workers, you have enough money to employ the teeming unemployed youths that are all over the place causing havoc here and there because of idleness and because of the insensitivity of our leaders and our politicians. If you kill corruption, industries will grow because if you put in little, it works. You know, if you kill corruption, you know, security agencies will be able to work hard such that we are secured, you know, not the kind of thing we're seeing today. So we have corruption, corruption, and corruption to fight.
Before we go into how we can embark on such fight, let's start from the President's comment at the BAS conference that ended in Abuja. He did say lawyers, he was speaking to lawyers, your colleagues, people like yourself specifically, that they shouldn't give some form of protection to some of these corrupt people. How do you interpret that statement?
Well, I think the President was right because the bar is becoming so rotten that it's very important we pay serious attention because you cannot have good lawyers from a bad society. You cannot also have a good society from bad lawyers. You know, same goes for the judiciary. I'm combining both in this instance now. You know, I've often said these things, a situation where, you know, we are gradually deteriorating under the sigma of democracy. We are doing democracy. This is democracy, rule of law. Rule of law doesn't give a judiciary or a judge the right to protect a corrupt person who is being investigated for corruption. So we have had cases in this country where court is ruling, you know, that the FCC or the police should not investigate someone who is being accused of stealing. Oh yes, you are guilty before, I mean you are innocent until you are proven guilty. But that's a legal process. That's not to say that nothing has happened to you. If you have been accused of doing something wrong with public funds for that matter, I mean you should be ashamed of yourself rather than going to contest elections and embarrassing the country and embarrassing your people. But unfortunately, even the Nigerians today, we are also involved, I mean, in encouraging these people. So for us as lawyers, I think the time has come for us to stop this nonsense of filing irresponsible documents here and there, stalling people. The country is dying. According to the President, unless you kill corruption, corruption will kill Nigeria. And lawyers have a role to play. And I ask them today to stand up for our professional ethics.
You said something about Nigerians encouraging some of these people. How is that being done?
Well, Nigerians are encouraging these people because when you see Nigerians talk, you will not begin to wonder whether stealing or looting or, you know, the kind of, what do I call it now, kickback and kick front and all that is no longer corruption. You know, is it because this money? Take, for instance, I was so ashamed when I saw people going around demonstrating when the former Minister of Aviation, Stella Otua, was accused of, you know, embezzling money and inflating contracts and buying things he's not supposed to buy and approving things he's not authorized to approve. And people gathered and they were demonstrating, oh, she's a woman. Even women groups say, oh, this, that. Because you are a Yoruba man or you are an Igbo man does not change the meaning of stealing, doesn't change the meaning of kickbacks, doesn't change the meaning of inflation. So I want people to understand very clearly, you know, that government itself is a process, and it's a process that everyone is involved in. Okay. So if somebody is dealing with, and if government didn't catch one person and it catches another person in the process of dealing with things like this, we shouldn't say because the other person was not dealt with, therefore what this man has done does not amount to stealing or corruption.
Mr. Uwaifo,
yes.
Your association,
yes, sir,
is supposed to monitor the activities of its members, right?
Yes.
I mean, both the African and the Nigerian Bar Association.
Yes.
But has your association at both levels reprimanded any of your members for, as you used the word, stalling legal processes by filing what you call frivolous cases and all of that? How many times has your association reprimanded them?
Well, I think that most of these issues are not issues that lawyers themselves can solve. I must commend the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, my good friend and our brother, Mr. Austin Alege, senior advocate of Nigeria, for the great job he's doing in trying to deal with some of these issues. Because of recent, we have had situations where most of the professional misconduct, cases of professional misconduct, are being speedily prosecuted by the appointment of many prosecutors in the NBA, many NBA prosecutors, so that this case can be speedily tried. For us in the African Bar Association, we are not a regulatory organ. The African Bar Association is just an association of lawyers across Africa. You know, it's an NGO sort of, just to bring lawyers together. Like, for instance, if we need to do cross-border practice, we need to use the vehicle of the African Bar to talk to our fellow African brothers and governments on how and the methods to do it. We don't regulate, but we can advise. If you know what's going on right now, we're doing a very comprehensive work on corruption across Africa in 6 African countries. I won't mention them now because our work is going on presently, you know, in these African countries. And when we finish, we're able to give you graphic details of what's going on. But what I can tell you is that the issue of corruption in the legal practice and in the judiciary is so bad that that's why the country isn't changing. You know, you cannot change. You know, when you are a changer and you are not changing, you cannot change anything. So our society cannot change. And the good thing I think Nigerians must understand is that you can never get a good judiciary or a good legal system from bad citizens. So that's where we are. The morality with which we were brought up when we were kids, we're told everything how to behave, we must restore them back. Because today Nigeria has no national ethos. As a Nigerian, I'm talking now as a Nigerian. You know, Nigeria has no ethos. There's nothing to fight for. You know, we don't stand for anything. You know, so you people just stand for themselves and stand for their pockets. And very often, you don't even understand what they want. You imagine somebody having $30 million, stealing $1.2 million, $1.2 billion this, 1.2 billion euros. What do you want to do with these things? You have no road, there is no light. So we just practically a bunch of, I don't know what to call it. I don't just know what to, we're just not doing the right thing. And I think the present government is trying to bring us, you know, back to where it was. Like, I remember I was one of those supporting this president, you know, personally, because I believed very much in his earlier regime as a military head of state. The kind of path to greatness for Nigeria have to do with law and order. If we cannot establish law and order, if we cannot establish discipline in our country, instead we are shouting democracy. Democracy is not an end to itself. Singapore didn't have to practice democracy when it became what it is today. Everybody is practicing democracy in Singapore. Singapore is regarded as one of the most democratic countries in this country today. A lot of financial centers are there. Singapore is a very serious economy, a first world economy in a third world nation. And things are moving on. So this democracy thing, we keep shouting as if democracy is where we are going to. You know, democracy is the end of where we are going to isn't correct.
Can the establishment of special courts help?
I believe very much so in the African Bar Association, that's part of what we are looking at. You know, because if you see those days before the establishment of rules to guide the enforcement of our fundamental human rights, you know, before then, you could just go to any court and the process was like any other case. But as soon as the Chief Justice of Nigeria established rules to fast-track the enforcement of your rights, it became very easy. Just like what you have in Europe, where even today, part of what the African Bar Association is also working out. You know, today, you have a Bill of Rights for workers that can be enforced in a procedure that is different from normal procedure. So I believe that if everything hasn't worked, if everything that we be doing hasn't worked, it is better we look at these special courts. And then it is easy to zero down on judges that are dealing with these things. Look at Justice Oyewole of the Lagos High Court before, what kind of thing he was doing. We need to have judges. We still have judges that are astounding, but we have perpetually bad and corrupt judges as well. And the ones that are corrupt are fewer than the ones that want to work.
What are some of the stories in Africa? I mean, because we're not just looking at, Nigeria, we're looking at Nigeria, but then you are president of the African Bar Association. Are there any experiences, you know, from some of your member country states that you think that Nigeria can learn from?
Well, yes. If you know, the vice president of the African Bar Association, for instance, is from Mauritius. On several occasions, we have had to hold most of our meetings in Mauritius. And if you know the kind of way, you know, businesses and legal issues are tackled in Mauritius. That's why Mauritius is almost regarded as a European nation. A lot of people don't even realize. You need to go there. Then also you need to go through the legal processes in a place like Zambia in East Africa. You know, and you need to look at the way they conduct their activities.
What do you think we should learn from them?
What we should learn is we need to stop this craze for money. We need to just stop this craze for money because it hasn't led us anywhere. Lawyers believe that they are in practice for money, but you're going to, when we were being, when we were taking our oath, when we were being called to the bar, it wasn't all money, all about money. It's all about doing justice to all manner of persons. So how are you, I think lawyers will ask themselves, how have you done your justice? We know the situation, the economic situation is biting hard. But you see, the problem is, I blame a lot of these issues on even the courts. Take, for instance, on most of these occasions, the Supreme Court has failed to deal with even senior advocates and other senior lawyers who take the laws into their hands. Some file very irresponsible applications. And the judges merely comment. They don't seize their licenses. They don't send them for prosecution. I just only had one case recently of the former Attorney General of what is Osun State, you know, who recently was debarred because of his connection with the. I think we are all aware of that. That's just one out of a lot of cases. Senior advocates, they're Supreme Court judges. They file rubbish. We need to stop this. If you know a case is not good, it is very important you should tell a client this is not a good case.